All right. So I'm over the index hole now, and the first stop would be like putting it down like that. I'm not going to put the part on there. I'm going to run it around. I need to set my Z yet. I'll just crank that up. Hitting the, there we go. Using my little 1-inch set tool right there. So now I'll type in 1 inch up here. Okay. Yep. Didn't get the 1 inch entered. 1 point. Enter. There we go. All right. So we're going to do operation number 1. So I got to find that on my jump drive here. Op 1. Okay. And I'm just going to draw it 1 time. Oh, I got to put the right size end mill in. So 250. Using the 250 diameter end mill. There we go. That looks good. And here we go. Could use a little more RPM. I think I'm going to stop. I want more RPM than that. All right, so we'll go into the edit and we'll edit that. It's running 700 and I'm going to change that to 2,700. That's because of the material I picked, and my program calculated at what RPM. Oh, yep, I think I messed it up. All right, we'll just open it up again. There we go. Edit unlocked. I'm just going to change that to 2,000. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Lock. And now it should run 2,000 RPM. A little better. Now it should come out here and mill. And I've got the feed rate pretty slow because of the material. That's why I wanted to just dry run it. I wanted to get this cut on there. It should go around 2 times. And I'm only running it at like 8 or 9. Oh no, I'm running a feed rate of 3. I thought I was running a feed rate of 8 or 9, but I'm not. That's why I wanted to take it easy on that 4340. That's why I got the feed rate down there. We ended up with not as much snow as they predicted, but we had plenty. I think we got around maybe anywhere from a foot to foot and a half. I had to go clean the driveway out. Let's put it this way, it was enough snow that the pumpkin on the vehicle was dragging. So last year this time, or not last year, 2 years ago this time, I had my garden all tilled up, was putting a fence up around it to keep the rabbits and the deer out. And this year, it's under maybe 3 to 4 foot of snow on top of it. Set that up and put the part on. Need to put our pins in. And yeah, like this. Make sure there's no chips underneath. Slide the pins in. Trying to push that pin down. There we go. Come on. I know it didn't fit in there that tight. Let's pull it out and see what's going on here. Try putting this one in first over here. There it goes. There we go. All right. Then the clamp. It's going to clamp down on this. Bolt might be a little too long, I think. Let's see. And we'll clamp that down good. And hopefully we should have enough clearance around there. Here we go. A reset. Reset. All right, here we go with our setup part. Our aluminum setup part. The first operation is this way, the second operation is flipped in that way. I hope I didn't see the lights flickering. I thought I seen the light flicker. We haven't had any really high winds like they were forecasting. We had maybe 25 mile an hour wind, but not no 60 like they were saying that we were going to get. Now this will tell me if I went deep enough. I went the web thickness plus 20 more, so it should be fine. When we get this done, I'm gonna work on oil rings. I have the material laying on the lathe. I have my cutter that I ordered laying here for cutting the little slots in the piston to for the oil to drain back into. So it's a 50 by 3 mil or 0.3 mil. Millimeter. We should be able to just, after this gets done here, change programs, flip it over. Gotta flip it the right way. Can't flip it this way, gotta be flipped this way. I should almost mark it before I take it off. That way I know that it's gonna be right. I couldn't find a coolant nozzle with a small enough hole, so what I did was I put a piece of PCV tubing into the end of it and ink pen. I got an ink pen tube end on there, and that seems to work pretty good. So I've been saving my ink pen ends just for this now. I've got the cam disc for the Hodgkins all modeled up. A lot of numbers put in on that. I went with all their numbers that they. that they had on their chart. Kind of reminded me of doing the camshaft for the V8 with all the little setups that I had to do. You know, turn it a couple degrees, cut it again, cut this cam, this lobe, that lobe, that lobe, and it was, quite honestly, that was a little bit of a challenge. And the crankshaft for the little V8, that was a little spooky. I didn't wreck any. These ways, I don't remember wrecking any. This should come out right here after this. That's a little spooky of a bit of a move. I came up 1.5 inches, but the clearance plane is set at 1 inch, obviously. So it went up 1.5 inches, come back down to half, and then came over. I gave it an extra 1/2 inch, so I wouldn't scare myself. Now we'll move this out of the way. And we'll get the vacuum cleaner here again. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this here, so all of us know which was the starting. I'll just do that with this for now, and then I'll probably center punch it. This is just the setup part anyway. All right, take this off. Now I'll have to get a shorter bolt for when it's flipped. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to grab that pin here. See if I can pull it out. The other one should come out pretty easy. Now, we want to flip it right. I'm going to give that a little bit of a, well, actually, I'm going to take the vacuum cleaner after it a little bit. Suck some of that out. All right, so now it's going to sit down on this surface. Blow the chips away, and then now it sits down with that down into the that. Like that, and like I say, now I need a shorter bolt. I'm quite a bit shorter than that. I had one laying here. Now this one's probably too short. Actually, I don't need the big copper washer, but the one washer is a copper washer. It's out of a starter solenoid. It's actually a strike plate to put current to the starter. All right, now I'm going to switch programs. So I'm going to go open operation number 2. So that the lobes are in the right spots. And now, I didn't dry run that. Let's draw it once here, make sure. Looks good. It's going to start over here. So I'm going to move it over close to where the starting position is going to be, so I don't spook myself. It's going to be right in that area where it starts. All right. Oh, stop. I want to change that RPM. Okay. Well, I don't really have to worry about the coolant on this, being it's just aluminum. And we're not taking a full diameter cut, we're just taking the, what was it, 50 or 60 thou. I'll get this and then I'm going to inspect it and make sure everything looks okay before I do the steel. The lobe should be over here and over here. Like I say, one's exhaust, or two of these two are either exhaust or intake, and then the other ones are the opposite. Before I do the steel, I'll put some more coolant in. Looks like we might be running a little low. Should be running about the same, yep, 3 inches a minute, a little over 3 inches a minute. Hear my drawbar rattling up there. It actually looks pretty nice outside, but the wind is blowing about 20 miles an hour. It's drifting. Good thing I got those pepper seeds planted. I think by the time we get into the garden, by the time the soil gets warmed up enough, it's going to be late. Okay, right about there is where it's going to start coming out for the lobe. It'll come out. And now it's going to take a finish pass. And the finish pass is 500, or 500, 5 inches a minute, a little faster. I'm going to pick a different RPM. That RPM sounds kind of funny. The lobe is over here, lobe is over here. Trying to think of a way of putting a handle or something on it for when if I have a friend of mine heat treat it, I don't want it sitting in the oven like that and picking it up like this, because this is where the bearing rides. So when that's hot, you don't want to, because you'll end up making that whole egg shape. So I'm thinking about making another plate to bolt onto it. Or I could just put a bolt in here through there with a couple washers that he can grab. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. All right. See what it looks like. Let's move this out of the way. And vacuum up the chips. I want to try to clean up most of the chips, because when we do the real part, it'll be steel, and I'll be vacuuming with my junk vacuum. So I don't want to get the aluminum chips mixed up with the steel chips. It's a no-no. That's a no-no. Let's see what it looks like here. All right. Can I pull that out with my fingers? No. There you go. One pin out. That out. Okay. I'll have to do some polishing, obviously. The blend they blend into the groove that I put in there pretty good though. I'm gonna put a little mark on this side so I know which side. Here, I scratched an X down on the bottom of it. Well, I don't know. It looks good to me. Okay. That diameter's all there. That diameter's all there. All right. We're going to try it. We're going to give it a run for the money. So I can just leave this set up and do this operation first. All right. Not going to use the vacuum now. Move that out of the way. I'm going to put some trim saw in. I'll just dump it up here. Looks like milk. Kind of a bluish tint milk. All right. Should have plenty of coolant. All right. We're doing the side with it down. Two pins in. Tighten that up. I'm going to change that RPM to, I'll kick it up another 1,000. So it's 3,000. We're running almost 4,000 RPM now. And it's going to come over here and start. I kicked the RPM up, tried to smooth that surface out a little bit, but it's actually, you know, Okay, I've got a little bit of red dicom on the hole that I'm using for this. All I need to do is wipe that top off right here so that that's clean, because that's what it sits on. Okay. And pull these pins out so I can right. Well, what's going on here? Get a little bit of taper on these pins. That's what I'm thinking is going on. It's got a little bit of a taper. Yep. See how it slides in nice now that way. Or my plier grooves, I'm making plier marks on the pins too. That could be what's going on too. Making plier marks on them and they're not going to slide in then. I think that's what I done. I have to go and either cut off another one or yep, right there. So I can see the marks. All right, well, we'll emery them down. Maybe. Or I could cut another one. All right, some emery paper here. Don't want to emery them down too much though. It gets sloppy in there. It's definitely not sloppy. All right, now we need the long bolt. Light that over here. Don't forget to change the program. And then change the RPM on it because I didn't save it. Okay. I'm going to save this program. All right, so now I want to open this one was number 2. Op 2 is what we were doing. We want op 1. And we want to change the RPM.